Hello, 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 beautiful unicorns. Welcome back to our Heal the Unicorn podcast that will live stream into our Facebook group called Heal the Unicorn Emotional Healing and Spiritual Growth for Women. And normally we live stream this podcast into the group, but because this is the new year and we're gonna be needing some recovery time, let's be honest, and probably you as well, and maybe you're listening to
Yep.
this podcast recovering and using this as a medicine for you to recover. Um, we Today we're recording it so that way you guys can watch it on this beautiful day of the new year. So happy new year to each and every one of you. And as always, your loyal hosts, Anna Angelova.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. And my name is Anna Angelova. I'm an energy leadership coach with Empath Unicorn Academy, where we help women create an abundant life.
Love it. Thank you. I love how you always change up your intro just a little bit here and there. It's like, hey, whatever comes, comes. And for me, I like to keep my intro the same because it, I found what it is for me, right? I found how to describe what it is that I do and why I do it and who I am in what one or two sentences. So, here goes. My name is Yana Kasperczak, and I'm your certified professional performance and spiritual awakening core energy coach. And it has been my soul's purpose to help women to help you get your shit together so you can break free from that mental prison you find yourself in and build a life, a business, and or a career that you are obsessed with. And today's topic that we have for the podcast, where it's the first time that it's just Anna and I, and we thought what would be the best way to start off this podcast going forward with it being Yana, myself, and Anna. Actually, my name in my language, when you read it backwards, it says Anna, Anya, right? Yana,
Yeah,
Anya,
yeah, Anya,
backwards.
yeah.
It, and I found it really, really interesting. And asking my parents, do I have two names or just one? Because if you read it backwards, I have a second name. Well, anyways, so today's podcast is about the topic is this the right community, tribe for you, or on your healing and spiritual awakening journey? So, is this the right place? Is this the community and the tribe that you have been looking for on the journey that you are on, where you are healing emotionally and growing spiritually? And if not, no hard feelings. There are other communities that will help you to feel seen, heard, and feel very comfortable and safe, like it is a home or a tribe, where it will amplify your healing and your spiritual growth journeys. So first, I'm gonna what what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna talk a little bit about, or quite a lot about who we are, why we do what we do, what is Empath Unicorn Academy about, what is it, why is it, what is Heal the Unicorn podcast is about, who it's for, who it's not for, and that's basically it. Why we're here as well, why we're doing all of this. So I would love for Anna to start us off and start with who are you beyond just your intro, because the intro is the intro, and then there's so much more layers to the onion that is Anna Angelova. So let us know who you are and why you do what you do.
Yeah, this is always a tough question, and I still have trouble answering this. And I always go to, oh, I'm a certified professional coach, describing what I do, which like it makes sense, right? Like it makes sense to an extent. Um, as you know, I'm actually originally from Bulgaria. Uh, this is where I was born and raised, and I came to Canada 10 years ago, I think, a little bit over 10 years ago. And I never thought I would be. I would live in North America. I picture myself living in England. And at the time, both Prince William and Prince Harry were still single, so you know, a girl can dream. Um,
Right.
oh yeah, oh yeah. And who am I? It's interesting because uh, in some aspects, and I will share a few things quickly in the interest of time. So in some aspects, I'm the older sibling. So I have a younger brother. So in some aspects, I'm the older sibling. But then I have a sister, and like she's like my dad was married before he married my mom. And she's older, like she's 8 years older than me. So in other aspects, I'm the middle child. So I have been effed up uh, as the oldest one, but then also as the middle one, like the one that uh, everyone forgets about, and and of course, I was brought up in like Eastern Europe with traditions and the views of the world in Eastern Europe, but I was always like curious and questioning things and always thinking that there must be something more. I've always enjoyed like I was the quiet one, and I'm still pretty quiet, and some of it is shyness. Um, Other parts are just this is who I am, right? I don't need to speak. I don't need to talk. Like I'm good at listening and all these things. I enjoy um, not doing anything, by the way, like just being. I love the outdoors and nature, and just thinking about the memories I have from the village where we used to spend the summers. Like it warms my heart. And this is one of my dreams to be able to get back to these times. And it's so like simple times where we used to drink. So my grandparents used to buy milk from we didn't have cows and sheep, and like we didn't have, but some of the neighbors had. So they used to buy the milk directly from the neighbors. Like even
Hmm.
one of them showed us how to milk the cow,
Yeah.
and they would just boil it, and we would drink it. Very, very pure and real times. And one of my favorite things was getting a carrot out of the ground and eating it. Just remove the bigger chunks of the soil and just eat it. Love it. And in the Chinese, I think it's a rabbit. I'm actually 1987 is the year of the rabbit, I think, in the Chinese
Hmm.
calendar. So no wonder I love carrots. Um, and in general, I, although I say this myself, like one of my super strengths is kindness. Like I've always been a really kind. Like in the other, like in the zodiac signs, I'm born in July, so like a Cancer and um, emotional, really emotional. And I've always been kind and an empath. And this is one of the things that actually attracted me to like what you were sharing, Yana, when we met like the Empath Unicorn Academy, right? Being an empath and feeling the feelings of others. And I remember I wanted to become a doctor because my grandmother, she used to have a lot of problems. And I wanted to become a doctor so I can take care of her and help her get better. And then it turned out that I almost faint when I see blood, so didn't take this road. Um, I think when I was fifth grade, it turned out that I was better at math than my math teacher. So from there onwards, my journey took on a very uh, kind of logical the path of like programming, information systems, like career as well. Like went into the realm of like the corporate world, dealing with data, reporting. I'm still a very logical person. I can solve math problems and logical problems very quickly, understand a lot of complex things. But ultimately, like a lot of us, like there was a time when the first time I experienced this, and I know I'm talking a lot, but the first time I
Oh, that's good.
experienced this was um, I was just not even 1 year into working as a quality assurance analyst, testing how the data moves from one place to another, working in Bulgaria and for a Canadian company. And I was thinking, what the hell is this? Is this all? Like, am I supposed to do this for the next like 50 years? and depressing. I'm telling you, like so depressing. And um, I still love like these things. I still love them. Like I still love looking at data and doing these things. But from one perspective, it was depressing, and I almost quit. I almost became an au pair. I even found a family in Denmark, and I we agreed that when I will be going there to start, and for the ones like if you don't know, like au pair is like a nanny, like you live in nanny, you go and live with the family, take care of the kids. And I've always loved kids as well. Oh, this is one of the like when I was 12, I was looking after a 2-year-old, such a precious age. Um, so yeah, always loved kids as well. Um, and anyway, so when I was what, 22, it was the first time that I was thinking, is this what I'm supposed to do? And then later on, after I came here to Canada, I actually came here because of the MBA program, like with Rotman. I have a Master of Business Administration with the University of Toronto at Rotman. Um, I had a 750 GMAT score for the admission, and GMAT is Graduate Management Admission Test. And the average score for Harvard and Stanford was 730 or 720, and mine was 750. So, like commercial break. Anyway, and after I came here, like even so, I started the MBA program 2015, and 2018 I graduated. So it was a 3-year program, and I was still wondering, like, what is it? Like, am I supposed to be doing this? And um, I was searching for some things, and I remember Googling, I guess, side hustles and things like this.
Hmm.
And somehow I stumbled upon coaching, like professional coaching, right? And I read a book from an iPad graduate, actually. And in general, for coaching, they were saying that listening skills, like when you are able to listen, and some of these things that how important they are. And as I was reading it, I'm like, oh, it's describing me. It's describing who I am, and this would be perfect. And I'm also like I also love learning. Like I'm a lifelong learner. You don't see the library over there, but it's over there. Um, and basically, so 2018 in June, I graduated from the MBA program. 2019 in September, I started the IPEC program for the coaching training, which is like a 9-month program. Like it's not a 3-week certificate thing. Like it's a 9-month program. Uh, we had 3 weekends where it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Like intensive and transformational. But it's a program that really prepared us, and this is where actually Yana and I met, prepared us to become professional coaches. And I remember after Mod 2, like the second weekend that we had, which was in February of 2020, that infamous year, uh,
Yeah.
I felt like I was on top of the world. It's just the experience we had, and I envisioned myself being a coach, a professional coach, and uh, helping people get the transformation I had just experienced.
Hmm.
Um, and this is where my journey as a coach started. So 4.5, almost 5 years. Actually, it's almost 5 years ago, right?
Hmm.
And I know I've mentioned it before. Like I tried some things on my own, and Yana, like with you, like we were coaching each other even after we graduated, right? Like we were assigned to work together as peer coaches, and then we continued after that, and we were coaching each other, helping each other build our respective businesses. And I always felt like fascinated by your vision, and I'm really looking forward to you sharing how you started like Empath Unicorn Academy and what you are doing. And what was it, like a year ago or a little bit over a year ago? Um, Somehow, like we had this epiphany that like we've been supporting each other, doing things on our own, uh, and at the same time, we complement each other so well. And I know we're joking sometimes that like Yana is like the kite like out there, and I'm the string like come back. Awesome idea. Let's park it. So ultimately, I think it was a little bit over a year ago when we decided that uh, why not join forces? And I joined Empath Unicorn Academy as a I don't know if co-founder is the correct word, like co-owner.
Hmm.
And since then, we've been doing things together. And it took me a little bit of time to come uh, like in front of the camera and start showing up myself a little bit more because I am comfortable behind the scenes. I am comfortable solving the problems and like doing the technical stuff, taking care of website and all these kind of things. And I don't mind it. I don't really want to be in the spotlight. And it took me some time before like taking this step to be here, to be in front of the camera and have these conversations and share some of my story, shine some of my light. And it's a journey. When I'm looking at this, it's a journey. And as I said, who I am, if I'm to summarize in a nutshell, energy leadership coach and a quiet and a kind person.
Hmm.
And I'm actually really curious to hear your story because this is where like I came to Empath Unicorn Academy and Heal the Unicorn, like the podcast and the group. I joined the movement. I joined this because of your vision, Yana, of your mission, of in a way I fell in love with your baby. So I'm really curious to hear your story and your why, like what brought you, in a way, what brought you to where we are right now. And I think this will really help with us um, having the conversation about is this the right community for you? And like once you get to know us, like who we are, like this is the first step, right? Like getting to know me and then Yana as well. Like this is one of the first things that mm, whether it's seeing part of you in us, in our journey, in some of the things we've gone through, or just saying, oh, this might be someone I want to listen to every week on Wednesdays. Um, so yeah, I'm giving you the floor. I've stopped talking and giving you the floor so uh, you can take the microphone that's right in front of you.
I know, right? Hello. How's everybody doing? Thank you for sharing that. And where I would love to start is we met in the school going through IPAC. To me, this was actually the second coaching program that I went through. The first coaching program that I went through, honestly, the best way to describe it, my feelings about it, it was a joke. Uh, and that's the best way I can describe it. It's like it was all written, it was all like theory. And this is not how we become a coach, because otherwise we become a coach in theory versus an actual coach. And this is, then I was practicing what I've learned from that coaching program, which was all on my own. There was no support, there was nothing. It was just me and black and white pages, reading these different things. And it was great in theory, and you don't get to practice any of these things. And then I ended up going through the Law of Being program, which is a program that was created by Bruce D. Schneider. And Bruce D. Schneider is the person, the man who created the IPAC coach training program. Even though since then he had sold it after we graduated, he's the one that created it. So to me, he is always going to be the voice and the person behind um, everything, or not necessarily everything, but the majority of what makes up our teachings here.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? He is the person and the voice and the theory and the strategy, everything behind IPAC and behind the Love Being program. So now let me rewind just a tiny bit because I believe it's important for all of us to hear more about who we are as individuals and why we're here, but most importantly, our pains and our struggles, and really like why the hell are we here? Why are we doing this? And so the best way how I will describe it is that for me, Empath Unicorn Academy was born out of my personal need for survival. I was in a place of my life where I feel like I've always known that I was an old soul, but I feel like I've gone through so much. It was just one thing and another and another and another, and it's just I felt like I couldn't catch my breath, and and that's why for me, I felt like I was barely surviving and I couldn't even get my nose above the surface of the water, and I was drowning and I was drowning, and I battled with postpartum depression, which turned into depression. And I've taken the meds, the antidepressants, which I'm not gonna go much into, but in my experience, they've done more damage than good. They messed up my hormones, they messed up my metabolism, they messed up my mind, just to name a few. It, in many ways, it changed who I was, and I lost my self identity, not just because of the medication, but because a lot of the different things that I was going through. And going even back to the programming of what kind of a wife am I going to be? What kind of a person am I going to be? And how am I going to take care of everyone and things like that. So I, when I was 22 years old, so I'm married and my husband and I, we're both born the same month and the same year. So you can imagine how challenging that can be. Now, on top of that, there's some people who do very well being the same month and the same year. Now, based on what I had learned about astrology and what is it like? Basically, the year that you're born, the Chinese year, and then the month that you're born. So, based on everything that I have learned, the hardest and toughest relationships that often and most likely don't survive happen to be a Taurus, which is bull on bull, and a tiger, which is tiger and tiger. And this is my husband and I, right? So we're both born in May, 11 days apart. I'm older, he's younger. And that's why he's like, "Oh, I married an older woman." I'm like, "Oh, yes, you did." And both tigers. So, as you can imagine, one of the challenges growing through life together, being 21 years old, where we're still children. We're still young. We still don't know anything or very, very little. And yet, the ego is very strong at that age, right? It's like, oh, I got it. I can do everything and anything, which is yes and no. So it was a challenging road for us, and with going through challenging times, like when we were 22 years old, we ended up losing our twin girls. I was 22 weeks pregnant, having two kids, and losing them at no 22 years old, 22 weeks, and losing two. So it was 222, and that numbers always spoke to me. And so there's the numerology part and being connected to the universe and hearing the universe speak. So some of my gifts, as I'm talking, you can hear some of my strengths, my weaknesses, my gifts, my aspirations, my struggles, my challenges, my ups and downs. Me. This is who I am. I used to be a total mess, denied it. And then I recognized I was a total mess and I owned it. And then I started getting my shit together. Am I a total mess now? No. But I still got messy parts of me and I embrace them. And I see it for what it is, as an opportunity for growth and evolution. There is beauty in everything. And it took me 15 years to see the beauty in the loss of the twins. And as you can also imagine, then, having going through that loss, because it was traumatic for a 22-year-old child. Two of us, right? Me going through it in my way that I was going through it, and my husband going through it the way that he was going through it. And as a man, the job is be strong, don't show emotions, be the be the strong wall behind her and support her and all these different things. And I will say that he hasn't fully healed from that. And he will be the first one to admit it because we've just talked about it recently. Whereas I will tell you that I have fully healed from it last year, where I can talk about them, I can look at their pictures. Is there moments of grief and sadness once in a while? Not so much as it used to be. Just there's more gratitude behind it. There's more joy behind it because I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for that. So going through that loss, then having our daughter just a year and a month later after the loss, and she was born a month early. And so that was quite a bit. And even just to rewind back, after I lost the twins, which, like I said, it was a whole ordeal where we had the ambulance come and pick me up from home. I had to quickly brush my teeth, and I was in the back of the ambulance. My husband was alone in the car driving behind the ambulance to the hospital, and, you know, not even knowing that I was an empath at that time, I could feel that they're just trying to be positive and uplifting. The Honestly, it's like we don't necessarily remember who the people were, but remember how they made us feel and the energy that was there. And um, I, I mean, I don't remember if it was a man or a woman. I remember there was one man. I think there was another woman, but they they knew something I didn't. And they were trying to make me feel good. That's the energy I got from that. And they were doing their job great, even though they've been through this enough to know the outcome. So that was challenging. Of course, right? Just the whole experience of the ambulance in the back and then being in the room and nurses trying to find the baby's heartbeats and the pulse and everything and struggling to find and the ultrasound being brought in. So it was a lot. Um, and then the pictures being taken, and this is where it took me 15 years to be ready to look at the pictures and for the first time see my partner and his pain and his suffering and see things from different perspective that is outside of me. And that was to me the cherry on top of the healing that allowed me to fully heal because I saw the whole thing, right? And I was no longer in it. I was part of it, but it was no longer who I was. It was no longer defining me. So for me, that was in many ways something that carried through into having our first child, our daughter, who's just returned 15 to me yesterday, right now, but to you guys, December 18th is what her birthday was. So you do the math. And then afterwards having our son. And this is where like that was an interesting time because when I was pregnant with our son, 7 months pregnant with him, I've always been a very trusting person with people, trusted people, and always give people benefit of the doubt, and I will continue to do that. Am I gonna get hurt? Yes, but I would much rather live that way and then live in fear and be fearful of trusting and opening up fully with people and not letting them in. I'd much rather let them in and the rest they gotta live with. So, um, I was at this point, I believe it was 10 years with the bank, and I was assistant manager at the bank. And without getting into too many details, because I was 7 months pregnant, um, I got in a car accident on the way to pick up our daughter. And because this was still cold and I was still wearing a jacket, the man that hit the car on the passenger door, or no, I hit his car with the passenger door because he was turning left and I was going straight, and he didn't have the right of way either. And so there was impact. The front of the car needed to be replaced, and he had no idea, right, that it happened. And as for me, I was such a good girl. I was trying to normalize it for him, and it's okay, it's good, it's fine, because he was worrying. He's still new in Canada and didn't want anything, didn't want me to be hurt or also him get in trouble. So there's a lot of the good girl that I was healing and I was living through. And where's my husband when he called? He was a protector, and that was his job, and he was doing an amazing job. So got in the car accident. 4 days later, I I basically got thrown under the bus by someone who I trusted and I thought was my friend. And that wasn't the case. There was a lot of jealousy, there was a lot of envy on her end, and a lot of these things we see it in the hindsight, right after the fact. So that's what happened. And yeah, there was then also, I'm just sharing these different things that come through. 2 weeks before we got our second house, I lost my job. Also because trusting another person, being an empath and being a good girl, taking care of everyone around me and making sure they're good, they're happy. And these two women, they had issue with each other. They were like double my age women and bickering and always, anyways, petty shit, really. And one of them, she saw it as an opportunity to try to get the other one fired. And in the end, what ended up happening, I got caught in the crossfire. And I got fired 2 weeks before we got our second house, and we didn't even have a mortgage in place. So you can imagine how stressful that was. And so there was that. Um, then the dog that we got after losing the twins, 2 days after we lost them, got a dog. And then 2 days after actually, the day after we got the dog, I had to go back to work because this company had a business to run, and those were the words used. They had a business to run, and they failed to tell me that the moment that I stepped foot on the premises, that I was no longer allowed to take maternity leave, which I was entitled to after 20 weeks of pregnancy and giving birth. Because I gave birth to the twins. I was already in labor. There was no heartbeats. At the one moment, even one of the umbilical cords went back in. So there was even talks of me being cut open to get the umbilical cord if it wasn't coming out. So when I say it was an ordeal, it was an ordeal. And then there was the whole funeral, and that's a whole different story. I I was there, but I wasn't there. I had already checked out. So there was a lot of healing, a lot of trauma, a lot of loss, a lot of feeling like a failure, even as a human making machine, right? As you can tell, I love humor. It's important to instill things with humor. I also love crystals. I love stones. I love nature. I love moss. Something about moss. Maybe it's an unhealthy obsession that I have with it, but if I could sleep on it, I would. Um, Forests, water, and combine them all together. so I can live there in the wild. I love the different creatures. I'm a huge dreamer. That's what Anna was talking about. The kite analogy. I'm dreaming. I'm up there. I'm flying. I'm a kite. And Anna's like, let me. No, 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 no. Yana, Yana. Come on. Let's be realistic here. We can't do all of these things. You gotta reel it in. And what can we do now? I love your big ass vision about Empathy to Record Academy. It's great, but that's like 5, 10 years from now. Where yes, great, but let's leave it there and focus on the now of, what can we do this week, this month, this year, right? And it's important, and this is where like that balance of dreamer and realist, analyst and a dreamer, right? And so that's what I would say would, because I took a bunch of notes. I already talked about, oh, another gift that I have is my ability, and this has been my ability ever since I can probably remember, is to not take things personally and see more. It's like not seeing for what it is, but seeing the different available options and perspectives of how to view things. And everything that I've gone through, been through, everything that I've learned just broadened that and gave me the ability to express it in ways that I'm able to help women see different options, different perspectives, and see beyond the actual thing that they're dealing with and overcoming. And always, and like how my husband would say is that, and this is why sometimes if I am, you know, upset at something or at someone for whatever reason, because it happens so rarely that when I am, my husband takes it very seriously because if I am seeing it, if I'm talking about something or someone, then it must be really serious because my way of being and expressing myself and existing is always seeing the positive and the good in everything and in everyone. And not in just one way, but seeing a variety of options of how or why something or someone is the way that they are. So that is my gift as well. And the way that I also describe things is is unique to me. Um, it's like one of those things that sometimes I see almost like visions of a visual of how I would describe it. And um sometimes it's similar, sometimes it's different. And then oh, the other phrase that I would like to mention, because some of you would relate to it, is being multi-talented, where there's so many things that I know I am good at, but I can be good at a lot of things, but I'm meant to be great at one thing. And to me, this one thing, the greatness is Empathy Unicorn Academy. As I started saying, this is like the few things that you've heard. Now you can start to understand what I meant by when I said that it came for me from the personal need for survival because I struggled immensely with seeing myself, being myself, and being a caregiver to everyone for for a long time of for a long period of my life and losing myself in that process and going through the miscarriage and then losing the dog that we got as a replacement for you can never replace things, but as a coping tool, coping mechanism, the dog that we got, which was a boxer, after losing the twins, he ended up passing away on my 30th birthday, having a heart attack, and going through that ordeal. And this was, to me, this was my my anchor to awakening. And one of the things I love to ask women, and I would love to hear that from each and every one of you, is what is the moment that you can go back to and you can say, this was the moment that I woke up and I realized that there's started questioning things and I begun my spiritual awakening with, like I said, questioning things, questioning who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? That feeling that there's so much more to life and my existence, and that goes beyond the labels, that goes beyond the label of a mother, label of animal lover, label of an anxious person or a depressed person or a wife or a daughter or a woman. Beyond these labels, who am I with these labels and yet outside of them, right? Because I'm not, and also not be, often when I ask women is, who are you? They tell me their job, their career. But that's not right. And that's how you started talking, that we're
Yep.
in many ways beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah. This is how we're programmed, though. Yeah.
Hmm. Right? We're programmed to talk about ourselves. And I'm Yana. I am 38 years old and I'm a mother of two. And I am a certified professional performance and spiritual awakening core energy coach. These are just titles, these are just labels. This is not who I am. Who I am is all of these things that I mentioned, and an enormous amount of things that I simply wouldn't be able to mention because of the time or because they're not coming through or because you might not be even ready to hear these things. So another reason is Empathy New Court Academy. Having been in a very dark place, feeling shattered into a trillion different pieces and feeling lost and confused and questioning everything that was about me, about the world, and feeling lonely and feeling like I don't belong here, that something is off, something is wrong, feeling and finding myself in this constant feeling of depending doom, that this is the end, and going into following my calling to join IPAC, to do IPAC, no matter how challenging it felt, to take on the courses and programs that I took on and complete them or not complete them, and read the books and the podcasts and learn and apply what I learned and do the meditations and tap into the parts of myself, parts of the universe that I and get the answers that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise, and recognizing that I really truly experienced death when our dog was passing, and seeing myself as outside of myself. It's almost like revisiting that experience, but in the way where I was floating above it and seeing it happen in front of me and seeing what happened, and there was that transfer of energy of death going into me and watching. It's like one moment he's there, and the next moment it's just the body, and he is no longer there, and he is everywhere. Our dog Zeus, and in many ways beginning to understand and diving into the realm of life and death and dabbling in that and energy and understanding that energy can never be destroyed or created. It can just be transferred, that there's so much more to the crap we've been fed down our throats throughout our life, and these and going through these steps of achieving and reaching and having the house and the white picket fence and getting married and having 2.5 kids and pets, and everything is neat and tidy and organized, and you're always like your husband comes home and you're wearing the apron and hi honey, how are you doing? How was your day? Let me feed you. Let me take care of your other needs, right? All of these different things, different expectations. Hey, it works for some people and that's great, but I gotta figure out who is me. How do I want to take care of my man and myself? Some days, yeah, I do wear the apron and that's great. Other days he wears the apron and
Yep. Yeah.
figuring these things out.
And this actually ties very well with what you were saying with one of your superpowers. And the word that came to my mind is like, again, as coaches, like one of the skills is open-mindedness. And I also remember with with a movie, Mona Lisa Smile, with Julia Roberts. Um, it was just at the time when like women were getting educated and like that the traditional way of living was started to be questioned and women were encouraged to get into the workforce. And I really, one of the things I really love about the movie and which I'm a true believer in is the choice
Hmm.
that it's not about and we talk about women because this is our community, right? Like we help women. We are women, we help women, and like it's not about shoving women into the direction of corporate world and professions and everyone should be in working or into the other direction. It's about having the choice and the opportunity to explore different things even and to find yourself.
Exactly.
And that's why one of our values, when you think about Empath Unicorn Academy, one of our values is authenticity, like finding your true self and fulfillment. Like really, really, the other value we have is fulfillment. Like really living a life that when you look back at the end, it's like, yes, it was amazing. Thank you. Like such an amazing journey.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're curious, like the other values we have are truth. And this is truth with a T, upper T, like the one that's like the real truth. Um, and if you want to understand the difference between like true and like upper T and the lower T, like, keep on listening. We are exploring these things in different episodes. Um, and curiosity and adventure. And a lot of this represents like some of this like with the adventure and the fun. Like it's really you, Yana, and I love it. And like the fact that I'm attracted to this like as a quality, and I love this in you, like the humor you have, and that we want things to be fun. Uh,
Hmm.
I mentioned in one of the previous episodes that I see myself as a boring person, but at the same time, the fact that I feel attracted to this, and I think that if we see qualities in others, if we recognize them and we love these qualities, it means that we also have this within us.
Hmm.
Um, so, like when you think about Empath Unicorn Academy, this is what we do. This is what this community is all about. Like Hugh the Unicorn, like we have the podcast, right? So the podcast is the place where every week we have an episode. And then going forward, one of the things you will notice is that every week we have a certain category. So aligned with the uh, spiritual awakening journey and the 7 levels of energy from IPEC, like we'll have like 5 different categories we'll be exploring. So we'll start with healing and awakening, and this is like the darkest part, the uh, dark night of the soul.
Shadow work, as I would call
Shadow
it.
work,
Healing
shadow
the inner
work.
child is another way of calling it. Yeah.
Levels 1 and 2 energy, especially like level 1 energy, like we are professional coaches, right? We're certified professional coaches. We are not therapists. So this
Mhm.
is one thing that I just want to make clear that everything we're sharing, it's either our experience or things that like, from the perspective of a coach. So in some cases, like Yana, you mentioned dealing with depression. Uh, in some cases, like yes, you can work with a coach, you can learn and explore things, but you might need to contact a medical a therapist, like someone who can help you with even prescribe something, right? So everything we share, even on the healing and awakening, like it's from the perspective of coaches. Um, so. whatever we share, we'll mention this, like consult professionals and like if you need to and whenever you need to. But there's a lot of value in what we have, like what we talk about as coaches. Like there's a lot of value in there uh, for this shadow work, for those levels 1 and 2. And level 1, like sometimes it goes to depression, right?
Hmm.
And then after we get through the like exploring the dark night of the soul, the shadow work, then we move to exploring your true self. So the second category will be different topics and conversation about exploring your true self, which if you think about the levels, like the 7 levels that we talk about, like this would be moving to level 3, like taking responsibility for, like you said, okay, I realize like that, yeah, I am broken and things happened. I see that things happened. I see where I am. Like let me take ownership and start exploring. Um, the third category will be um, the integration,
Hmm.
where we start integrating all these spiritual things we talk about into our life everywhere, like finances, health, relationships, like building harmony. And after that, like the fourth category will be actually something that we all do, whether we realize it or not, leading. Leading with purpose, like finding like that authentic self, who we really are, what our purpose is, and shining the light. And the last category is living in oneness, which is ultimately transcending, going beyond the ego and really connecting with that spiritual, like Yana, what you were talking about, that experience of realizing that, uh, like I love how you said this, that you were not in it, like you saw it, you experienced it, and yet uh, it's really hard to explain this. And what I'm trying to say is that with the podcast, what we do as part of Empath Unicorn Academy, Heal the Unicorn as a podcast is a place where every week we have these kind of conversations. We are looking into inviting guests to help, especially with the integration in different aspects, like health professionals or dietitians, for example, like to help with these conversations and add more value to the community. And then the group itself, like Heal the Unicorn Group, the same name, Heal the Unicorn Group, spiritual awakening, healing for emotional healing for women. This is where our community is. And we're growing strong. Like we're over 1,000 women in the community. And we do stream the podcast live in the group every Wednesday, and the conversation is amazing. Like the way that like we have women who watch the podcast regularly live. Some women, depending on like whether they're working or not, um, they join from time to time. But the conversation is always amazing. How we help each other, and sometimes we answer questions, but then sometimes someone from the community will share her own experience, right? And it's beautiful. Like it's just those beautiful connections. And of course, in the group, we have other things, and we're always looking to improve and make the experience transformational to help with the emotional healing and then the growth, the spiritual and personal growth. Mm. And the whole thing is under the umbrella of, as we're saying, of Empath Unicorn Academy. And ultimately, where the whole thing started, my whole thought process started from, is that this is what Empath Unicorn Academy is, the place where we help women. I love what Diana, what you're saying, like get your shit together. Which what does it mean? Like it means heal from the past trauma. We all carry some kind of past trauma. Even I carry past trauma, although I haven't experienced even close to what you, Yana, are sharing. Even I carry past trauma.
Hmm.
Uh, the smallest thing, like the fact that I was convinced that my mom wanted a boy and she got me. And then I was
Too.
convinced that she always loved my brother more, that I was not loved. Like my grandmother, she really loved me. So, we all have some kind of trauma and things that we've experienced from the past and even carrying from previous lives.
Hmm.
Um, and then even carrying something generational, right? Like even carrying generational scars. Uh, then we also help with changing those limiting beliefs, the things that are the programming that has been put in us throughout the years and years of being part of this society. And ultimately, enhance, like see to ourselves for who we are, right? Find our authentic selves and choose the life we want to live. And it all started from what you were saying, Yana, that for some women, this means starting a business and being a businesswoman. For others, it might be focusing on a career and managing a family as well, right? Like managing the two, having, like you said, the 2.5 kids, like and picket fence and cars and things like this. For other women, it can be absolutely like stay-at-home mom, even homeschooling kids and things like this. And this is where also like the teachings of Bruce D. Schneider and the books he has. So um, uh, oh boy, I forgot the one with the
Live the life of your
dreams.
dream.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was a good one.
this one. Wow, the way it opens, at least it opened my mind in this thinking as well, like the non-judgment of good or bad. Like I don't want to review a lot. Like I highly recommend if you want to listen to it or read it. But at some point in the book, in the dream, the main character, he's taken to a war zone and has a very interesting conversation with that entity. And like our judgment that things are bad or things are good.
Hmm.
And I love also like this one we've shown a lot, the unconventional wisdom that someone who's drunk is as spiritual as a monk in a monastery. Um, so ultimately, like when we think about Empathy Unicorn Academy and why we're here, why we're doing everything we're doing, like yes, a lot of it comes, Yana, from your own experience and your need to survive. Uh, and we want to help other women who are going through something similar, who need a place to heal, find who they really are, and live a full life. And for us, creating a caring world, a fun world, like adventurous and fun world, at the same time harmonious and peaceful world. This is why we are here. This is why we are here, and the podcast is one way. Like you can listen to the podcast on the podcast platforms. The group is the next level of experience where you join our community and get to interact with us a little bit more. We have card reading in the group as well. So if you're not part of it, like this is a fun way to start a week. We have other types of posts and challenges and things like this that we do in the group. We also hold some other kind of meetings and gatherings and trainings for the community. And this is another level of transformation and interaction and moving on this healing journey that we are all on this spiritual journey we are on.
Hmm.
And of course, the biggest level, like the level of the best transformation, is the programs we offer. With Empathy Unicorn Academy, we do have like the 21 day challenge, right? The Inner Peace Challenge, which is a do-it-yourself course, like the recorded lessons and daily lessons, and um, check it out, transformational. 21 days that like really set the stage for you to get to that state of inner peace. And the women who want to get even deeper, our signature program, the Imposter Banishing Quest, everything we're talking about, like healing from the past, finding your authentic self, like removing the layers and layers of um, false identity that we all have.
Hmm.
So, yes, we have a dream of having Empath Unicorn Academy being like an academy, right? Like being the place where spiritual women gather together and like you go and like you come to Empath Unicorn Academy and like you need something that's related to like, the healing journey, we've got it. You want something more towards your, um, let's say, relationships or something like this, or finances. Like ultimately, the vision is for Empath Unicorn Academy to be an academy for spiritual women empaths and unicorns. Like we are unicorns. Like you're a unicorn. Yana is the main unicorn, and I love unicorns. I bought this one last year for Christmas, and I love it because it's also a little bit purplish, and I love purple.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a place for us to uh, really uplift the world. This is one of the things that IPAC is here to raise the consciousness of the world. And this is what we as IPAC certified coaches do every single day, um, whether it's through the podcast, whether it's in the group or with the programs and the work we do with our clients. And um, it's amazing. Like every single day, it makes it worth it. And I know I talked a little bit again, but I just wanted to share some of these things
Mm-hmm.
that we do and why we do them and the vision, some of the vision we have.
Yeah.
Um, and because we started the whole conversation with the idea, is this the community for you?
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel attracted to like what we are sharing, if it aligns with who you are, where you are, if it speaks to your soul, ultimately, uh, you feel it. Like even me as a logical person, I feel these things in my soul. Like I feel it with my heart. It's not uh, like a lot of things I try to understand logically, but some of the most transformational experiences, like when I read the Master Key book where he talks about the way the world works, like it resonated with my soul. Like it's like I know in my bones that this is it.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually highly recommend, and what I would say, and this is something that I'm working on for this year, this new year. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't resonate with you at the level of your bones, then it's a no.
Yeah.
It's not a community for you. But if it touched you, if it's like, yeah, yeah, this is it. Like this is the place I've been looking for, then welcome. Welcome home. And we're so happy for you and to see you being part of this amazing community of women. And we really look forward to everything that lies ahead, all the ups and downs.
Mm-hmm. And that's what life is about. It's full of ups and downs and all the sideways and the pauses and staying where we are. And I like how you said that if it's um if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And the way that that resonates with me and comes through for me is I love decluttering and organizing spaces as well. And
Yeah.
not just physical spaces, but mental spaces. And this is why I know that our approach to everything that we create, everything that we do is unique. And there is the decluttering and organizing behind it as well. So the way that I heard you say it, based on what I've learned about decluttering and organizing from Marie Kondo, one of my favorite inspirational mentors when it comes to decluttering and organizing spaces. She has a show on Netflix. She has a book as well, the magic of tidying up with Marie Kondo, or the art of tidying up with Marie Kondo. And her approach is if it doesn't spark joy, let it go. Because
Yeah.
life is too precious and too short and yet long at the same time to waste our time and energy not having fun, not feeling joy, not feeling like where life is an adventure as it's meant to be every single day. If you think of life as a video game, in the video game, let's say you're playing Mario video game or some game where the character continues to die and gets to do every day the same adventure over and over and over again. We can feel sometimes like we're that character in a game that is living in this video game or in the Groundhog Day, that it's the same day over and over and over again. That means you're not living the life you want to live. You're not having fun, and you forgot how to have fun and embrace life and approach life as an adventure that it was meant to be. It's a vacation. You gotta play in your curiosity. This is like why we have these values. Authenticity, I feel like that's self-explanatory. Be you. Stop trying to be someone else. This is the unicorn part.
Yeah.
you're you're awakening to the reality and the truth of who you are, and you no longer want to be part of the herd of the horses because your horn is growing, and of course it's gonna hurt because it's coming through, your third eye. You're awakening, and you no longer want to be part of that herd. You want to figure out who you are and then join a different herd, different tribe that allows you to be you and doesn't even want to waste the energy on a conscious and a subconscious level to judge you or think of you in any negative ways. The truth with a capital T, because there's true and there's truth. Truth is universal. You can't twist it around. It is a and it isn't, right? It either is it or it either isn't. And the truth is that, and on top of that is speaking your truth,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
your voice, being your true authentic self by using your voice and being open and honest as well. And then when it comes to curiosity, this is something we forgot how to do every single day. Because when we were kids, we every day would be curious about something and we'd get into things. Right? And we were just a curious child, going and doing things that we shouldn't be doing. And it was fun. It was fun. And then we started adulting and we became boring in so many ways and became bored in other ways. So tap into that curiosity and find something you can be curious about today and do that. For some of you, it might be being curious about one of your fears or one of your blocks or one of your challenges or struggles, or maybe something fun you want to do, or maybe actual vacation, whatever it is, the curiosity that calls you today, go and do that. Fulfillment, that's where we feel the freedom as well, where we feel whole. And it's like we all had that day and have those days where we just sit there and it's like if you died today, you feel like you really lived and you did you all and really enjoyed and you were happy and you were whole. That's what fulfillment is. An adventure, just everything we'd be talking about and having fun. And then if we're gonna break down, and this is where now I'm breaking down the itty bitty parts of Empathy Unicorn Academy on top of what Anna said, because you explained it in such a beautiful and powerful way and gave structure to everything. And because that's her middle name that I gave her, by the way,
Yeah.
structure, the analyst, right? So she brings structure to my crazy, to my dreaming. And then the Empath Unicorn Academy, I can't even tell you how many people challenged me on the name and said, "Oh my God, it's so stupid. People are not gonna like it." I'm like, clearly I don't care for those people. Because I ain't changing it. There's something about it and I can't explain it and just I'm leaving it. I'm not touching it, right? There's magic in it because this was the baby that was born when I didn't want to live. Like that's the best way I describe it. I didn't want to live. I would sit there, contemplate different ways out, and I didn't want to choose a permanent solution to a temporary problem. So dealt with anxiety, depression, and panic attacks and struggling to sleep, being awoken at 3 in the morning, questioning why I'm so tired, I want to sleep. Well, because the spirit is awake at that time. So instead of me avoiding it, I leaned into it and I learned a lot from that. And then I could sleep again. And it was magical. And then Anyway, so Empath Unicorn Academy, the baby that was born. Empath is because I was called sensitive and a whiny baby or cry baby for a big period of my life. And why are you so sensitive? You're too sensitive. And it's because as empaths, we are very empathetic. We are highly in tuned with other people's feelings and emotions, and we're disconnected from our own. We feel either, some of us are also unique. We can connect and feel energy of plants, trees, nature, birds, animals, and on top of that, people. So there's a lot of power into that. I highly recommend each and every one of you to look into the meaning of the word empath beyond empathy itself. So there's also intelligence about emotional intelligence that you continue to uncover as you go on this healing, emotional healing and spiritual growth journey. And then the unicorn, I feel like I've explained it, but if you look at the actual logo, what you will see is in the word O, there is what is it called? A symbol of the word empath. And now what makes all of us unique, and we, each and every one of us is a different type of an empath. And this is one of the reasons why the logo or symbol of empath is in the word unicorn in the O. And we're not meant we're all born in a world that forces us to conform and fit in, but we're not meant to fit in. We're meant to be different and an enormous amount of different ways. Just as many people as there are on Earth, that's in how many different ways we're meant to be different and unique and weird. And the Academy is everything you need in one place. That's how I'll describe it. And not just from us as individual and combination teachers and coaches, others as well. That's why we're going to have speakers. And at a later point, there's going to be an evolution of the academy where certain people who will be vetted through us will have the ability and access to sell their course through us, through our company, Empath Unicorn Academy. And there is, of course, I'm not going to go into the deeper and deeper and the like 10,000 view of Empath Unicorn Academy. Anna knows this already. She's heard enough. So I'm grounding myself as well without going into those parts of the dream because those things will uncover themselves as the time comes. For now, I feel like there was everything that I already said that I wanted to say. And the last thing that I feel like I want to kind of leave everyone thinking about is when it comes to relationships, because one of the things that we do is we help women in their relationships. We're not relationship coaches, but we help women in their relationships because the focus is not unnecessarily on the relationship, but the focus is on you. You're in the relationship as an individual, two individuals that are in a relationship. You work on you, you focus on you, you heal yourself, and in the process, you help your partner as well in the way that they're open to and allow them to go on their own healing and spiritual awakening journey on their own terms and in their own ways. But one of the questions I want you to think about, and not just think about, but also ask your partner, because I believe it is highly important to understand. And this is why I've asked this question of Anna as well, so I can help myself to understand her and what's in it for her and with my partner as well. And the question is going to be something along the lines, you can phrase it in a way that's going to make sense to you and the person that you want to really build an honest, authentic, and genuine connection, deep, genuine connection with, and grow and build together. Is you want to know their trauma. Ask them, what are your traumas? What have you been through? Tell me what makes you you, and you will see and hear them perhaps for the first time ever. And that is a very powerful way to build, rebuild, and continue building as one of the foundations. Because both of you, every single human being, like Anna was saying earlier, has trauma, different types of trauma, but it's still trauma. There's hurt feelings and emotions. There's a broken and inner child within you, the younger version of you that needs to heal. And then there is the dark parts of you, the shadow, that we're going to be going into that also needs you to be there, to be present and available and do the work and not avoid doing it, not saying, oh, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. Later is now. So that's where I would end. I can't think of anything else that I can say about, you know, who am I? At least for now, little by little, you'll get to know. You can even watch previous videos in the group as well. Who am I? Who is Anna Angelova? I feel like we covered that point. Why we do what we do. We covered that point as well from our past and our experiences and what we've learned and who we are now and what value do we bring to each and every one of you. What is Empathy Unicorn Academy? What is Heal the Unicorn as part of Empathy Unicorn Academy? Why is it here? What do we offer? What's in it for you? To help you understand if this is the place that you can be open and vulnerable and feel safe enough to do those things so you can really begin or continue healing yourself in many different ways and continue to uncover who you are. And that's a very powerful place to start at. So that's it. I'm done. I'm out of words.
Awesome.
Hmm.
The only thing I would say is, as I said, if this is a hell yes, if it resonates, subscribe. If you're listening or watching this on YouTube or somewhere else, subscribe.
Hmm.
Join the group. If you're not part of it, Heal the Unicorn, Facebook, Heal the Unicorn, Emotional Healing and Spiritual Growth for Women. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. At 1:45 p.m. Eastern Time every Wednesday. And yeah, we'll hope to see you live on our podcast each and every week. And if not, on replay, and let us know what you're going through. Communicate with us throughout you listening to this podcast. Other than that, that's all we have for you today. And hope to see you and more of you in this community. And perhaps you know someone else who would love to be part of this tribe, part of this community, to grow alongside of you because it is always, always, always funner with a friend,
Yeah, definitely.
right? Otherwise, we would quit and we would give up and it'd be so boring. So have fun with your friend. And until we see each other next time, thank you, Anna, and thank you everybody for being on here with us. Obviously, watching the replay because it ain't live this time, but next time it will be. So until we see you next time live, bye everybody, and happy New Year once again.